Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. I'm here in beautiful Nashville with Amanda coming from ActifyChat. She has graciously let my massive production team come into her giant facility, and we have a huge staff here, and there's a lot of logistics for me to set up my iPhone on a basket. So
it's a really good basket.
It's a really solid basket. It's nice. She's got nice lighting. She's got better gear than I've got, I think. So we were talking about the media's role in this immigration, what's going on with Trump, because the media really didn't seem to cover much when Obama was literally nicknamed Deporter-in-Chief.
Right.
And So let's talk about that. What did you see, if any, during the Obama years of them talking about when he was deporting people?
So one thing that, well, I very rarely heard anything about his deportation policies, and actually the fact that he was deporting more people under his administration than the previous administration. I actually did not see that outside of independent media. I didn't see any mainstream media covering those things. I also didn't really see any mainstream media cover the deaths of the immigrants or the murdered immigrants that were found in Texas. Like there was a big, massive grave found in 2015.
Right. And
again, I think I saw that, or I had read that from an independent source at the time. And it just did not get any attention. I'm not even sure if anybody really knows about that. So the mainstream media, I think, has been an utter failure as far as this issue is concerned, along with many other issues, of course. But definitely regarding this one.
Yeah, it's funny how the media, and I see why the right calls them the liberal media, but they're not. They're just an arm of the corporate machine,
right,
that in a very calculated manner decides what it's going to go after, and just to help keep the country divided, in my opinion. And like I saw a lot of people, this woman I follow on Twitter, Sarah Abdullah, retweeted the Rachel Maddow, coming to tears about these kids getting separated from their families, which is it's awful, and it's a very emotional thing. But Sarah Abdullah was like, where are your tears for the humanitarian crisis that's happening in Yemen? What's happening here is awful. Children getting separated from their from their parents, but 120 children die every day in Yemen as a direct result of us helping the Saudi Arabians. And there's where is Rachel Maddow's tears? Where is, the media is so complicit in just feeding us just enough to get us riled up about this issue or that issue. They're not being the watchdogs. Like another tweet was, George W. Bush dropped 70,000 bombs in 5 countries. Obama dropped 100,000 bombs in 7 countries. And Trump has already dropped 44,000 bombs in his year and a half or whatever.
Wow.
How many children have been killed or left homeless as a result of that?
Right.
And where's the media? I
think it's kind of an issue of, well, yeah, they are the corporate media. There are the people that do profit from these wars. And it's decently far removed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not directly getting bombed every day, so we don't see that those type of atrocities happening on our soil.
And the media deliberately does not show the atrocities that we're creating overseas.
Right.
They'll show a little sliver of like, oh, Assad's using chemical weapons to get everyone all riled up for more bombing.
Right. And so it's kind of a weird situation, because it's more about, people would call this kind of Orwellian, but it's not. It's very Huxleyan in nature, right? It's kind of a bombardment of so many different sources that you're just like, I don't really know what to believe anymore. And we really don't need to be in a situation where we cannot tell fact from fiction. That is dangerous. That means that no matter what, we can fall for lies from a strongman, or we can just decide to give up, right? Or we become super complacent and just ignore everything. And we need to stay informed, and the media has utterly failed everybody on this, because they do work for the corporations. And it's really, I don't know how to fix it. I really don't. Because again, you know, with what we do and try to actually give information, but we do insert opinion as well. But I think that we also have to be very like, I don't know what to pick and choose from to decide what's real from fake.
Yeah, I mean that
does make it a little difficult.
It is difficult. Yeah, we all have to sort of sift through and go, I don't know, like what is the source on this? For me, I try to, I think when I'm confronted with the what do I do, this seems very daunting. I feel like, well, at least this is what this show is about. That's why I'm doing this. You know, is I'm trying to give. And yes, this is my opinion, but you know, I always say like, it's mine. It's not, there's nobody behind me telling me what opinion to have. The money I make from the show is from you folks. So there's nobody writing me a corporate check. So at least if I get it wrong, it's just an honest mistake versus I'm not bullshitting anybody.
Right. Like you believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not like you're coming in and saying like you're being told to say this, and even if you don't believe it. You know, like, hey, this is utter bullshit, but I still have to tell it because that's my job. You know, because they've paid me to do this. You know, I mean, I guess it's just like if you get something wrong and it irritates somebody, they could just say, okay, we're not going to pay you anymore. I mean, that's y'all's decision to do that. And they're more than welcome to do that, too. And it does keep everybody honest, hopefully, right? Of course, you've got people like Alice Jones, but that's just like you tuning into information that you want to believe.
Right. And that's part of this insane quagmire of what's true and what isn't. Then you have people just gravitating to, and the analytics of social media are designed for that. Whatever you like and watch, then that's just going to get sent back to you. So it's hard to know like what information I am getting and where it's coming from. I guess for me, I always try to find the source. Like there's certain journalists or websites that I kind of feel that I can trust a little more. And then when I'm watching or reading the corporate media, I'm always like, well, I can see their angle. It comes up really quickly. And when something awful is going on, they will just deliberately have no opinion and will just report it as, and then they'll try to like, well, here's the other side of it. And it's just like so fake.
Well, then it always surprises me too when they have the commentators on both sides. Like there was a segment on CNN with Corey Lewandowski. He's a horrible human being. And then like someone else that was basically like, how dare you say that? But then the main person in the middle, I guess the host of the show, was just like she didn't have any reaction.
Nothing. They just sit there.
There was nothing. It was just her staring. Like I was like, this is kind of creepy.
It's so creepy. There's a clip that came out last year of Bill Nye. Was on CNN and he called out CNN as being irresponsible for even, you know, some climate change denier that's fueled by the oil industry, literally financed by the oil industry, is like, well, I don't know if all the science is in there. And then the CNN person just goes,
Right. I don't know which one to believe.
Boy, you decide.
Believe somebody that like has been paid by the oil industry to, you know, feed you bullshit that like 0.1% of scientists will follow, but only those scientists that have been paid by the oil industry say that that's true.
Oh, that's what they should be doing. That's what the media used to be, watchdogs, and they would have gone, well, now wait a minute, you got this amount of money from ExxonMobil. Hold on a sec, how can you say that? They just sit there and go, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You know,
no, they don't mention it.
No.
They don't mention like the paying sources. They don't mention anything. They just have this false equivalency of, well, this person has 50% of the debate and honesty and truth behind it, and then this person has 50% of the debate, all equals 100. You decide what you believe. And it's like, no. 99% of scientists believe in this.
Well, the equation I go like, I read 97% of all scientists from every country on the face of the earth talk about climate change. And I'm like, then what they should be doing is they should line up 100 scientists and have 3 of them say no. And then also say, by the way, these 3 scientists are financed by the American Petroleum Institute.
Right. They should. But
because
they don't.
No one would ever do that with, and it's amazing that Americans can't quite grasp that. They understood it when the tobacco industry was basically, taken down in the 90s. All their research and everyone, it's bullshit. You're just
right.
Well,
because they saw the direct effects of it, right?
Right.
because a lot of people knew somebody that had lung cancer, or somebody that was suffering from secondhand smoke and things like that. So they could tie it back to something. But for something as complicated as climate change and global warming that takes time, it's not as an immediate thing. And we are so short-sighted. We don't think about these things, that we don't plan our futures very well, which is why we always fucking get it wrong. As far as like, oh, I'm gonna be like this, in a few years. This is my goal. No, nobody gets that. That very rarely happens, because life happens. There's a lot of different factors at play, but climate change is complicated. But the media should have a duty to help educate people, to help inform them. They should be the bearers of information, not propaganda. And right now they are propaganda for our corporations.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And
they're an utter failure. I think I'm a little kind of conflicted with the immigration stuff, just as far as the media is concerned, because I know that these things were reported. And so I'm thinking under Obama, not necessarily the amount of deportations, but definitely, like, I remember reading about like the mass graves of the immigrants that were found, and then Texas going like, there was no crime committed. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Dead bodies.
I thought murder was a crime, but you know what? I stand corrected according to the state of Texas, and they did report on that. Just nobody saw it. So I don't know if it was a failure of us as like media consumers, and that we should have had a reaction but didn't, or if it was not as widely as dispersed as it should have been, and so it was a failure upon them. And it's more likely a combination of both.
I think it's a combination of both, and I think it's one of the reasons I started doing this show was I felt personally like I didn't react enough, I didn't speak out enough, and this is one of the few upsides of having a guy like Trump in the White House is it's waking people up to like, oh, I got to speak up. I got to say something. I got to pay attention. Now they need to come to grips with the realities of all the presidents that came before him, that have set all of this stuff in motion.
Well, okay, so I do have a question with you on this one, because I'm, again, conflicted. I'm like, do we try to fix our house before we start trying to point fingers, right? Or so that we... I think we like fix it and then let's kind of get to the source so this doesn't happen again. But other people are like, well, this happened under Trump. I'm like, well, I don't give a shit right now. I think we need to fucking focus on this and fix this. Sorry, I keep cussing. I think we need to fix this right now. I don't know if you bleep out.
I don't bleep out shit. I swear a lot on this show, so you can say whatever the fuck you want.
But yeah, so I don't know if we should, because I know that we are so one-track minded that we need to really kind of have a focus, and maybe this was the media's focus for right now was the immigration separation, and maybe next month it'll be something else. So I don't know, but I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it's good that we are talking about it. I think it's good that more people are waking up. I hope they wake up to the one-sidedness or the short-sightedness of the corporate media, how they'll just get wound up about one or two little issues and not show you the whole thing. And I hope people start doing some more digging and get their own information, because that's the only way people can really wake up and make a mass change as a large percentage of the population. But
should we kind of go back and say, well, this was going on under X and Y Z administration?
Yes. I think you can do both at the same time. I think you have to do that because that is one of the biggest problems America has is we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to look at the past. We want to say things didn't happen, and we need to look at all of it. We need to sit down and say, yeah, it all happened. The founding fathers, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution are amazing political documents. They also were rich guys that didn't want to pay taxes to England anymore, and they owned slaves. Okay.
Right.
So I'm not spitting on Thomas Jefferson's grave. I'm just pointing out we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yes, we stopped it. We stopped the Nazis, and we did Japanese internment camps, which was largely a land grab.
Right.
We got to own all that. We got to own what we did to the Native Americans. We got to own what we're doing right now. We have to look at, America does not want to know how the sausage is made. It doesn't want to know, and it needs to wake the fuck up.
Yeah, we have an issue with romanticizing the past, for
yes.
sure. Definitely.
Yes. And looking at everything with rose-colored glasses and just like, well, here's this uncomfortable thing, but I know that's bad, but let's just shut it over there and everything's great. And it's like, we need to talk about what the fuck's going on in Yemen. Everyone's like, this is inhumane. This is, we can't treat these immigrants this way and these children. It's awful. Yes, I'm glad we're talking about it. Our biggest ally is Saudis, and they commit atrocities on a daily. And we sell them weapons.
Yep.
They give us oil. So like, everyone needs to wake up to the fact that America is an empire, and it's a pretty big, scary one, and we need to fix it.
Right. I just don't know how to fix it.
I think you do little everything. It's death by 1,000 cuts. You can't go up to the biggest, strongest person and knock up. You have to like
start with like community-based organizations and organizing and community politics, because of course on a local matter that does affect your daily lives more than a federal level even.
Yep.
So it's a good place to start.
It is. Like, look at Chattanooga. It has municipal broadband.
Right.
They saw the end of net neutrality coming. Now they should just say we told you so. And they just circumvented it.
Yeah.
So they just circumvented AT&T and Verizon and all those people. So little things like that, I see that and I go, little Chattanooga? Mm-hmm. Little Chattanooga got out ahead of this? Fuck yeah, then we all can.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing the show, Amanda. Please check out ActifyChat, and thank you for supporting this show. All the links for all of my Patreon and my website, my tour dates and all that are below in the show notes.
He's funny, by the way. I did see a show. It was good.
Thank you. There you go. So we got an ActifyChat seal of approval on our stand-up comedy, so come check it out. And thank you for making Gotham great again. Boo.